welcome to an episode of Matt Stream Outside on YouTube. Today I'm doing a review of the Shimano Symetre combo, so let's get started with this review. So, the current retail price for this specific model, the 5'6" ultralight, is currently $99.99, and I think that goes up to it goes ultralight, light. You might or might not be able to get medium light. Then there's a couple different mediums. Then there's some medium heavies. I believe some of the mediums and the medium heavies go for around $106.99. So let's start off by taking a look at them. Let's start off by taking a look at the rod. So, got a split foam grip going down to a very nice lock and reel seat with a very nice paint job. Got the words Symetre on the back of the pole. Moving down to your, once again, very nice, and so far some of the most durable rod guides I've seen in a rod. All the way to the tip, and once again, it's got a very, very nice rod tip, just as the guides are very nice as well. And do something quickly for the camera. So this is a fast action rod, but I want to show you the bend, because even though it is fast action, it has quite a bit of flexibility with the rod. So I did that because, most fast action rods have a really stiff tip and they might not flex as far down as this one does. But I've caught some bigger trout on this rod, so I've seen this flex in action and, bushwhacking through the trees and not paying attention to rods like I sometimes do. I went up against a tree and I've seen it bend, and, it was fine. So, for a carbon fiber rod, for a non-fiberglass rod, the rod blank seems very well built. The reel seat's one of those things I want to draw attention to. So, it locks from the top down. You have this nice locking mechanism. Then you can take the reel off. That's what it looks like. It's got Shimano written right there. You pop that in, and you start locking it down. I found this reel seat to be not only one of the most comfortable reel seats I've used for a fishing rod, but one of the most secure, unlike other cheaper rods where you have the plastic and the up lock-in that usually unscrews over time, or sometimes the plastic will crack when you screw it really tight. This doesn't seem to loosen up at all, and the comfort is there. So, while we're down here at the reel seat, just want to make a note that the foam doesn't seem to be some of the most durable foam I've seen. It has a lot of wear for about the year that I've used it, more wear than I would more wear than I've seen on other rods, but the comfort of the foam is there. And where this is a lighter rod, I do want to bring attention to the between the reel they paired it with and the rod. It's really nicely balanced. So this is good because if you plan to use the combo for trout fishing, then carrying this around all day is nothing. So it's a very pleasant rod to carry around all day. It won't make your arm sore casting, and it won't make your arm sore carrying it around if you're fishing for hours on hours. So I don't know if that actually showed it, but here show the length is 5'6", which I believe I already mentioned. Line weight is 2 to 6 pounds. Says Power Pro 3 to 8 pounds, meaning if you're using that kind of braid, that's the braid rating. The lure weight says 1/16 to 3/16 ounce. Now, with that being said, where this is a faster action rod, if you plan on casting something as light as 1/16 ounce, like let's say 1/16 ounce rooster tail, you're going to want to put some weight on there to get any distance. Because where it's a stiffer rod, even though it has some flexibility, you are going to need that extra weight. And of course the line you're running has a lot to do with how far you can cast too, but you know, I found particularly with this rod, I like to run split shot on it. So that's what I have on it right now. 2 things, a little split shot and a nice jig on the end. Who's this rod for? Well, I found this rod not particularly the best rod for spinners. I'm not a big fan of using it for spinners. I don't know if it's the stiff action or the lightweight. It can be done, but I found this rod works better for a jig, for example, or even especially in the mountains on some trout streams. This rod works really good for setting the hook with a bobber and a worm, something simple. It would probably work good for small plastics and power bait, that sort of thing. Be a really good stock trout rod. And it can be, like I said, it's not my favorite to use spinners with, but it can be done. But I find it performs better using jigs, worms, stuff you're going to be using a bobber with. That's where this rod shines. So if you're planning on going trout fishing for some stalkers and using, you know, power bait, Berkeley mice tails, traditional worm and bobber or jigs, this definitely is a good setup to look at. Now we're going to move on to the negative of the rod. That would be the reel. So turn this around. After about 1.5 years, and I do service my reels every year. I like to get them serviced, make sure to go through them, grease them up, do whatever I have to do. The bail is a weak point. There's a little too much play in it, and I have tightened it up as well, and that did not reduce the play. So let me show you something. Gonna move this up. Did not go back down. Move that back to normal. Let me show you why that's a problem. I take my cast, done fishing, I flip it back. Now look what happened. I flipped it back, and let's say I'm not aware of this, maybe I'm a beginner, and I start reeling. Now we're gonna have a bit of a conundrum. Till that flattens out, we could get a tangle, number of things. It's just when you flip that bail after you take a cast, you want the bail to go back flat with no play. You don't want You don't want too much play in your bail. This is too much play. The next thing would be the screws. So when I've serviced this rod, the screws are pretty junky. You know, when you use the right size screwdriver even, the screws tend to wear. Does have a nice drag, I will say that. Has a very nice drag system. It's a very smooth reel, but the construction and durability of the reel is extremely questionable, and I screenshotted some reviews mentioning the reel. I'll make sure to put this in the video. If I had to give this a star rating, I'd say 8 out of 10 stars. Minus 2 stars is for the reel and the foam. Other than that, this is a great rod, and if you're thinking about checking it out, go ahead and check it out. My advice for Shimano with this rod would be to offer these rods with a different reel, redesign the reel for it, like completely get rid of the design of this reel and design a new reel for it. My advice to you as a potential buyer is that this rod and reel combo is worth buying. Just expect to be getting a different reel after the purchase. I'm sure this reel will last you a year. You can buy your line, spool it on the reel, but expect that at some point down the road you're going to have to invest money in a different reel, and that can even be something as simple as a $19.99 Shimano FX, which I'm going to make a video on soon. There's a lot of good cheap reels out there. For some reason, the reel that comes on this $99 combo is just not a good reel. So my advice is still buy the combo. The rod is a great rod. The reel, not a great reel. Maybe this will be on other videos. Thank you for watching. I hope I could help you make a buying decision if you're thinking about checking out the rod. If you have that same combo, let me know what you think about it. How is your experience with it? Let me know what you think about your other Shimano products. If you liked this video, give it a like. If you want to see more fishing stuff, leave what you want to see in the comments down below. Consider giving my channel a subscription if you want to see more outdoor fishing, whatever kind of content that I offer. This channel is going to be reviews, it's going to be outdoor stuff, it's going to be fishing. Might have my dog on it sometimes. Either way, have a good day or night.